my biggest issue was the fact that I was really dark. That was the issue for me. Like, there were certain parts of my neighborhood, like there were these girls who were like, they'd call me monkey or baboon. Like, it played on me where I wouldn't go, like for years I would avoid those streets because they, like, I felt it. So on my way to the bus stop in primary school, I'd make sure that, okay, avoid those people.
Yeah. I'm almost constantly wary of how I look in the mirror.
My self-esteem is so low that I don't believe people when they give me compliments.
But I always felt, or was always told that I'm not fast enough, I'm not strong enough. So for me, those were the issue, because I'm really not a strong person, like physically. So I did things to like try to prove it to myself, to people, like, you know, stop playing soccer, playing rugby, because you want to be seen strong.
And I choose to like disassociate when people are complimenting me, or like people calling me a snack is a real problem, because I have a snacking problem, love eating food. Like
grade 1 till grade 3, I was bullied like heavily, so it was always about my self-esteem inside rather than my body. At least I could cover it. I would always project it on Rolando because he was the chubby kid, so I'd like, you know, like, let's race or stuff like that to make myself feel kind of better, which is messed up.
Because I know how my self-esteem and my mental health is linked to the way I feel about my body.
Like, guys. So I try to internalize, but okay, obviously you actually are a good-looking dude, but like in your head you're still the fat kid. Exactly. You're still the fat kid, and even like people used to say some traumatizing shit like, once this guy loses weight, he's gonna be so cute, but then you lose the weight and then you're still there in your head, and then you gain the weight back and you're like, I failed at everything. 25, I thought I'd look like a superhero, and I look terrible right now. Like, I don't appreciate where I'm at.
One of my earliest memories was when I'd go to my cousin's place. So I'd get there, and like all the other lighter complexion kids would be like, yo, nakuba nagasemhle, and then like my cousins would be like, umdaka magazagase, and then and like it was like really weird. Like it was like, so I'd avoid those. Like whenever I got like to my aunt's place, I'd chill outside while my mom walked in. She'd do the greetings, and then I'd just call my cousins outside and we go play, so that I don't have to go like through that a whole, like, you know. It was actually weird. Yeah, it only stopped like when I was like 12, 11, because people genuinely just say things and they think it's fine. And obviously looking at how everything that whenever I was a target, it was always about how dark I am, how I looked, how weak I was seen, or how I was. I was never the strongest. I never climbed trees. I never rode bicycles. I was just always the safe kid who was just there. So yeah, it just made me feel. And even then, going into high school, just like changing sports to like when you start like tackling your masculinity and you want to be perceived a certain way. I remember I used to gym with like guys in a garage. It was weird when we get there, guys are like all benching like the same weights, but when it's you, they have to decrease the weights. As much as everyone thinks it's like whatever, but it's like it plays in your mind, because everything that's been said before while you're growing up is being reinforced, that you're weaker, you know, you're inadequate. It's so for me it was those things, but I always kind of tried to, you know, leave them there and not show that they affected me. Also, oh yes, I remember I was playing a game at Walmer High. It was actually weird. It was like 2008, and it was packed. It was just packed. I remember I've never been in a game like that. It was just packed, and every time I got the ball, everyone was like, "Hey, jump us, fan," and like all those things, like from my childhood, was just So everyone was like, what's going on? Like, I was playing so badly. What's going on? I was like, nothing. But my mindset. So that's why I really don't like monkeys or shit like that.
Speaking of that, I used to be called that fat guy, whatever. I don't even want to think of it because it brings back bad memories. I used to be called Stula Mafehle, Mafuta, and Vovo Tirango, all those guys. Yeah, and at the time it was funny. Like, it was like, okay. Until I think I got to Clarendon, junior school. And like I tried to play sports, these sports days things, and I started running, always coming last. Oh, he's so fat, blah, blah. No, and then also those galas. Remember those galas we used to have? I used to be so embarrassed of getting into a speedo and having to swim because I was so fat. But like Elokshin, I used to it was a good thing to I was saying sometimes I'm with. But yeah, I think it affected me a lot. That's one of the reasons why, as I said, I got into the gym. I started doing a lot of sports and stuff. So looking back at it now, it was tough.
And it's really hard. It's, as Londa said, like it's really hard to align your feelings and what you actually do, because sometimes like your emotions dictate how you actually live your life. So you end up, as soon as you start feeling sad, you start overeating, you stop living like actively, and you start associating with people who aren't going to comment on your size. Like, well, okay, you're drinking like this because you're going through something, you're eating like this because you're going through something, is okay with me, because I get caught up in cycles. I remember like I even started associating with comrades, because comrades don't care about those things. Their issues are elsewhere completely. So you're like, okay, I'm gonna just hang around here because this body doesn't matter here, or like they don't talk about it. Like the image that you present is supposed to be like contrarian, like you're supposed to look like an Andile with the crazy hair and the big stomachs. So you try and you just end up in those things. And now that like I live with people who are conscious about eating proper food and conscious about living healthy, it's better for your mental health, because once you start like getting into a activity routine and eating better, you feel better because you start looking better, and like it's all together. But what I was getting at is that you need to align those things for your self-esteem.
I only recently have an issue with how I look, because I always say how skinny I feel I am, and that I need to go from a size 30 to a size 34. Like, that's been like the thing that I want to happen. But in the past 4 or 5 years, it just hasn't happened. I remember like 2012, I was off. Like, wow. Like, I look at golfers like, wow, they were like, wow, it was a lot.
The confidence I got, because another thing, even with girls, I remember, so logo I used to be in the friend zone, because they used to be like, oh, Younger's trying this, oh no, he's fat, just put him here. And then when I got like a better body, all of a sudden we'd be like, oh, Younger, like, yeah, you know, he's a snowflakes. And also the black boys would be like, yo, look, put your feet, you know, so yeah, it affected my confidence, and I felt like I was the shit in a way, because like I'd walk around now like, see, I'm fit now. So yeah, that's how it affected me.
You experience things as a kid, you really just not aware of the impact they have on someone else. So Lendo, I connect to tell you, I totally understand now. This happens not only with our friends but in our families, because I know, for instance, I've got a darker skinned relative, and we had like some really weird things to say towards her. Things like Quereza, and you know, that relates to back then. Now you going into xenophobia and that kind of thing. It's really messed up, because you don't realize at the time when you're saying those things what kind of impact they have, regardless of the fact that now you're being teased at that age, or you've been, you know, in a situation where you are the one who's doesn't have the privilege of, you know, you have the lesser privilege of the, maybe you fat, or you know, the chubby kid or whatnot, but you don't realize at the time. And kids are really mean, like kids really mean and are really mean, and those things stick around with people for a long time. So
like grandmothers and older black women always valued like being fat and being light skinned as these things that are, so if you're fat, you're healthier. If you are yellow, you're glowing and you're brighter, and like there's more attention on you. And I remember, I think like it caused a bit of resentment between my brother and I, because my brother and I are so different. Like, he was skinny and dark and tall, and like my grandmother always used to feed him like vitamin B complex to give him an appetite so that he'd get fat. Also like the whole light skin thing, like my grand always like make me wear calamine or make me like wear caps and sunscreens. I think we only started buying sunscreen because I was yellow and they're like, okay, protect this because this is current. Like that hat that Paulo had with the back. I remember I had one of those because you can't get the back of your neck black, yo. Like everything has to, it was currency. So even like when I grew up, I also thought that was important to be light skinned and I wanted to protect that. And I remember when I got to university, I wanted to like fight that. Like I remember walking around without a cap, trying to get darker as like I learned like about the politics of blackness. So this whole light skin favoritism thing is a real chat. This whole it's like someone had suggested in the comment section about being pointed to as being prettier because you light skin, and I think that privilege does exist. Like it's a thing that I have benefited from, and it's a thing that I had internalized as, oh, I am prettier because I am more light skinned. So it's something that it always goes back to the kids to me, like because like we're old now and we have so much impact on our younger siblings and our younger cousins and our own kids, and we need to guard against that. So yeah.